So, today's lesson, we're still in the How to Survive Middle School series, and today's lesson is leadership. Okay, cool. So, when I thought of this, I immediately thought of what was middle school like for me. So, first and foremost, I think we can all agree, Fortnite was like the center of my middle school. Oh my gosh. Fortnite now, I hate it. I hate Fortnite now. No. Exactly. It's bad. It's bad. Fortnite nowadays, no, I can't get on there. Of course I knew it was a new chapter. It's terrible. I get on there and I get killed in like 2 seconds.
Other two franchises.
The people on there are so sweaty now. You get on there, you die so fast. Exactly. The only chance I have is if I run across one of those like bots who like die super easily. So yeah, Fortnite, great back then. Nowadays, I don't know how you still play it. Does anyone here still play it? Danny? All right, a couple in the back. Okay, that's fair. You know, you guys would probably kill me now. But back then, I was like, I could like build fast. I was so good. Cranking 90s, yep. So the other thing, fidget spinners. Does anyone own a fidget spinner? You guys own fidget spinners? Okay, yeah. See, fidget spinners are big for you guys. Whoa, that is a big fidget spinner. I mean, fidget spinners are big for me. I didn't really get the hype. I used them for like a month, and then I was like, this is dumb. But it was a trend back in middle school. Does anyone know who this is? I'm curious. Okay, good. You guys do know who Harambe is.
I don't know who it is.
Justice for Harambe. We want justice for Harambe. Do you guys not know who that is? He's a gorilla. He had a really sad death, and everyone wants justice for Harambe. Just know everything went downhill. Everything went downhill once Harambe died. Dances. You guys know the dab, right? That was huge back then. Take the L. That's the dance now. No. Okay. The dab was huge back then. Like that was the thing. I'm definitely not gonna dab for you guys because I'm pretty sure this is getting recorded. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. This is getting recorded, guys. I'm not going on the internet with dabbing. That's terrible. But Cam Newton, I think he invented it. I don't know who invented it actually. He made it big. Lastly, water bottle flipping. Have you guys ever seen that video? No, I've never tried that. I didn't know. That's interesting. Huh? I have capped it. Oh, I have a funny story. In middle school, we would take our water bottles and we'd try and cap it every single time. And like 50% of the time, they would break open, spill water everywhere. And the people walking around hated us because we were just breaking water bottles.
Youth leaders might have thought the same way.
Youth leaders probably did. That makes a lot of sense. That the breaking water bottles, flipping water bottles is annoying. So anyway, middle school for me was a time of a lot of change, and I'm sure it was pretty similar for you. I can guarantee you it's the same for you guys. For me, I went to Downs Elementary School, relatively small school, about 500 kids. It's in Newark, if you guys know where that is, my hometown. You do know where that is? Okay, at least one person. See, it's nowhere near here. It's like 40 minutes away. But I left Downs, which was back in my hometown, and I went to Conrad, which is where I currently am. It's a much bigger school and totally new people, like people I didn't know. So, yeah, it's a pretty big looking school. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of new people, which means a lot of different influences on my life. You guys ready to see some embarrassing photos?
Yeah.
I don't know why I did this. So I dug these up yesterday. I'm actually a 6th grader, so that's me in 6th grade on the left, and that's me in 9th grade on the right. And I pointed out some of the changes you can see. 6th grade, rocking the buzz cut, you know. Apparently the buzz cut is in right now. Good luck, guys. Do good singing. Oh no, I did. I had my phase. Apparently the buzz cut's in right now. It's like a style, so I'm actually a trendsetter, believe it or not. Yeah, I was doing it before everyone else. So grew out the hair, thank goodness. Also, the teeth, I got Invisalign, so my teeth are straighter. That's a positive. And the last thing is the style. So here's the thing. 6th grade, I let my parents pretty me up. They picked out a nice little button-up shirt for me. They, did whatever they could with that little bit of hair and made sure I was all pretty for my yearbook photo. But then later that year, I'm looking at my yearbook, and I see everyone there is just wearing these plain Jane polos. And I felt so out of place. I was sticking out like a sore thumb. I'm like, oh no, I look terrible. So every other yearbook picture, I have worn the plain Jane polo shirt to fit in. So yeah, big style change, not letting my parents touch my closet anymore. I don't really have a whole lot of style, but what I do, I own it. So, actually go back. So, there's nothing wrong with these changes. I think some of them are really good, like I'm glad I'm not rocking a buzz cut anymore. But it just goes to show that during middle school, you start to get influenced to do things that you wouldn't have done or thought about before. I never thought twice about what my hair looked like in elementary school, but I became very self-aware in middle school. And why is this? The main reasons we change so much is because of the influences in our lives. In some ways, influencing can be harmless, like switching up a hairstyle, but in other ways it can be actually kind of dangerous, like becoming very self-obsessed. There's an analogy I came up with the other day. I like to call it the highway analogy. And I know most of you guys don't drive yet, but for those of you, 3 middle schoolers in the front, can probably attest to the unwritten rules of the road. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of this. Have you ever heard of like the fast lane? Like life in the fast lane? I'm pretty sure Eminem wrote a song about that. Does anyone know who Eminem is? No. Not the candy. All right, I saw some hands go down. Yeah, Eminem, he's a singer. He made like a song, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the left lane is the fast lane. And the right lane is known as like the slower lane. So I'm driving to school the other day, and I'm in the right lane. I'm driving the speed limit. I'm behind a bunch of people going kind of slow. We're going the speed limit, which is slow. And then these people are just passing me left and right in the left lane. They're just going right past me, speeding like 10, 20 over the limit. And I'm looking at them like, man, if I just swerve into the left lane, I can just speed with them and get to school on time and not have to worry about anything. But you're driving the left lane, you get to your destination faster. It's more fun because driving fast is fun. It's like driving a race car. And, the people in the left lane, they're like, you see some sporty cars, the cars that can go fast, they're usually driving there. In the right lane, you get to your destination slow. Driving slow is boring, and, all the cars in the right lane, they're like the old cars about to conk out. So, you don't want to be a part of that crowd. But anyway, there are some consequences, though. When you drive in that left lane, driving the fast lane, it's riskier. You could get into an accident, you could get a speeding ticket. When you drive in the right lane, it's going to be safer. You're abiding by the law. It's how the road was designed to be driven on. So, the idea of the fast lane, slow lane, I think compares a lot to how the world's plan versus God's plan. Don't reference the song. That's weird. So, driving in the left lane is like following the world's plan. When you follow the world, you feel like you fit in. You feel like the popular kids are doing it, so you should be doing it too. And it can feel like a lot of fun. The consequences, just like driving in the left lane, aren't very good though. They're not very rewarding. You live a life that's unfulfilling. It doesn't have a purpose. And driving in the left lane or living for the world is dangerous. It could affect you physically. It could affect you emotionally or mentally, spiritually. On the other hand, driving in the right lane is like following God's plan. It may not seem appealing because sometimes it just feels like a bunch of rules. Has anyone ever felt like that? Like following God is just obeying the rules? I think it's fair to say. I've felt like that. And, well, the thing is, following God's plan is so much more than just obeying His word. It's really an adventure. It gives you purpose. My walk with God has taken me all across the country. On mission trips, I've gone to Texas, I've gone to Kentucky, I've gone to Maine, North Carolina, and I've met some of my closest friends through following God, and some of my closest mentors as well. And yes, sometimes it's hard to obey. Sometimes, but God designed us to live our lives in such a way that it's not not only honors him, but it enriches our own lives as well. When we live our life for him, we're happier and healthier than if we hadn't. And lastly, following God's plan leads you to the greatest possible reward in life, which is your eternal life. Guys, you might see people in middle school swerving out of the right lane, going into the left lane, following the world instead of following God. And it might be tempting to join them, to join in on the fun. But just know that just as the road makers designed the road to be driven a certain speed limit, driven a certain way, God designed your life to be lived to glorify him. So, it's easy to spot worldly influencers, or as I like to call them, the left lane leaders. That's a real tongue twister. So, deep down, these people aren't very uplifting. They might put you down. They might make you feel like you're not good enough. You might be jealous of them because of their image, and you want to change yourself so that you can fit in. When they get involved in things that God calls us to avoid, they make you feel like your life is boring or that you're missing out. These people are trying to lure you away from your morals. They're trying to lure you away from your roots. They're not helping strengthen your relationship with God either. On the other hand, godly influencers, or right lane leaders as I call them, I see you guys noticed the picture already. These people are uplifting. They remind you that you've been made in the image of God. You are his perfect creation. That there's no amount of makeup you could put on. There's no style clothes you could wear. There's no amount of muscle you can gain from working out that would make God love you any differently. These people show God's love to not just their friends and family, but to everyone they encounter, including the people that don't fit in. These people show that life with Jesus is fun and adventurous. And lastly, godly influencers are constantly encouraging you to follow God. They're holding you accountable in your walk with Christ. And now onto the picture. So my godly influencers, I would say, are the members of my small group, and especially my leaders, Ed, Figgy, and Mama Lynn. Mama Lynn was not at the Christmas party, unfortunately. So I had to use my expert Photoshop skills to sneak him in the photo here. I mean, look at that. That's what he looks like, right?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't even tell that he wasn't at the Christmas party. Oh, with Snapchat. I know. I've been blessed. I'm so good at this. Look at that. Wonderful. But these guys are the ones who influence my life the most for God. And what's great about our church is that I have small group leaders, but you guys also have small group leaders too. When you want to think about who's influencing your life, who's the godly influences in your life, think about your small group leaders. Those guys play the biggest role in my life, and they can in yours too. So let's not forget that today's lesson is on leadership. And in order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower first. And who you follow matters. I want you guys to take a second to think about who you're following right now. Who's influencing your life the most? When I think about this, I think about like Instagram. I think about who I'm following, who's constantly coming up in my feed, whose pages I'm stalking. I definitely don't do that. I don't know why I said that. But who is that person? Is it a celebrity? Is it maybe an athlete? Could it be like a musician maybe? Well, the thing is, if it's an athlete, just know that they're going to age out, they're going to grow old, and they're going to get replaced by someone else. If it's a celebrity, celebrities are getting canceled all the time. I think we've all seen that. And if it's a musician, you're always going to find a new song to like or a new artist that's better. So none of these people are going to last. Truth is, there's really only one person in the history of time, in the history of the world, who's perfect enough to base our lives off of. And that's Jesus. If you couldn't guess that. In 1 Corinthians 11:1, Paul says, "Be imitators of me as I am of Christ." What Paul's saying here is, Paul followed Jesus, and the people around him followed his example. He showed them what it meant to live a life for God. But first, he had to follow Jesus. And so if we put Jesus as the primary person in life that we follow, then If we put him as our most influential person, then naturally we'll become leaders by example alone. The next point is that God calls us to lead, and he calls us to do it as soon as possible. The Bible emphasizes this in 1 Timothy 4:12, which says, "Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." God doesn't want us to use our youthfulness as an excuse to not be leaders. He wants you to start today. And not only that, he doesn't want you to just influence your peers, not just the people who are your age. God wants you to influence even the people older than you, the people above you. There's a phrase for this. It's called leading upwards. By show of hands, who here went on the missions trip this summer? Lots of you guys. Anyway, if you did that, what is that?
What is that?
Whoa, that made a huge difference. That was weird.
I have your mic so loud because it's far away. It was picking up him hitting the floor more than it was picking up you.
No way.
Wow.
Technology. Anyway, I don't get it, but I guess some of you guys do. All right, where was I? So, if you went on the missions trip, that's just like a perfect example of leading upwards. Because when you go out and you serve, and then you come back and you're in our sanctuary telling everyone of the things you did, of how you served, the people in that sanctuary are convicted by that. They see you leading by example, and they're motivated to do the same in their own lives. So, before we wrap things up, oh yeah, this is my mission trip team. I know you guys all had yours. Good job for that. Congratulations. You should definitely do it next summer too. So before we wrap things up here, I just want to point out some 3 big takeaways from today. First things first is to be a good leader, you have to surround yourself with godly influences. The people who drive in the right lane are a good crowd to be in. They'll uplift you and help you in times of struggle, and they love and care for you, and they want you to grow in your relationship with God. Their leadership will rub off onto you. Second, God wants you to live your life according to his plan. When we abide in God, God rewards us with a rich, fulfilling life that ultimately goes on forever in heaven. So hold fast to his plan, and your life is going to bear fruit. Finally, you don't have to be grown up to be a leader. Like you said earlier, lead upward. Don't let your youth be an excuse. Start setting that example today for not just your peers, but for those who are older than you. And the high schoolers and even adults will take notice. That is all.